International Business School, London, an institution globally acclaimed for its multi-campus model and experiential approach to business education. Ma'am brings with her over 15 years of rich experience in global higher education and is widely recognized for her contributions to teaching excellence, research innovations, and institutional leadership. At HELP, MAM leads academic strategy, curriculum innovation, and faculty development across international campuses. Her expertise span business administration, business analytics, and economics, and has been instrumental in redesigning academic programs to align with industry specific needs and also international standards. MAM's visionary leadership has driven key initiatives in faculty recruitment, hybrid learning adoption, and integration of artificial intelligence in teaching and assessments, making her one of the foremost voices in shaping contemporary business education globally. Yesterday, we had a privilege of hearing MAM's intersection of innovation and pedagogy, offering a global perspective on how business schools can adapt to an evolving educational landscapes. Ma'am is going to today guide us through another compelling session that will deepen our understanding towards leadership, adaptability, academic excellence in Industry 5.0 era. So I'll not take much of your time. Let us extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Neha Pathak, ma'am, once again. And it's a privilege to have you, ma'am. The audience is all yours, and I request you to please address the gathering. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Sapna. This is my second day of hearing so many good things about me. So my motivation is skyrocketed very high. And as Naila ma'am said so rightly, I think more than anybody who's attending this session, we as speakers are privileged to be a part of this community. It's impossible for any educator to staying abroad to see themselves being a part of a community so large at so frequent times. So this is my second day with all of you amazing educators. Why so important? Because you are educating the future generations, the ones who are just building and growing things every day. You're the foundation, you're the creators of that. So it's absolute privilege to be with you for the second time in 2 days and to be talking about something which is even more close to my heart. So thank you for having me all over again. And thank you for IPS Academy and everybody, the organizing team, and surely Dr. Kushwaha for giving us this forum to connect together, to work together, and to know each other. So warm welcome. I'm very conscious it's close to your dinner time and you must already be munching on something or the other. I still have got my chai because it's only 3 p.m. But let's have a rocking session. Let's jump in some discussions and talk about something which is very close to our heart because we practice that. I will share a couple of slides, but I think today's discussion is more important because it's about talking about things which we do in the class to impart education. We know what we have to impart, but now we are talking about what you and I and everybody does in their classes in order to make sure we are doing the right thing, we are providing the right thing to our students. I'll take a moment to share a few slides, and I hope I do it right. Let me see if I'm able to share the right slide with you. Which I think is here. Perfect. Sapna, just a quick check. You're able to see my slides, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm on my laptop. I've got my slides in. There was some teaching notes. Then I can see you all on my Zoom link up and here. So I must be looking around, but I'm with you all the time. So today's session, we are going to talk about experiential and immersive pedagogies for impact. And I must acknowledge that we all are making impact in our classes. We are making impact with different things that we come across during every day in our class when we are present there as faculty. Let me start with one of the questions, and I'm not going to put it on Mentimeter. I want you to tell me the answers in the chat or unmute yourself and talk. Which is the most popular method of teaching? I've got all lecturers here. Everybody is faculty or in one or the other domain, trainer, coaches. What is the most popular method of teaching? If you can put some of the ideas, most basic one in the chat, I'll be privileged. And let me look, where do I have the chat option? Brilliant. Let me open it. I already get answers. Okay, let me have a quick look. As I said, bear with me. There are so many different tabs. Okay, I got PPT, chalk and talk, chalk and board. Great. Paradigm, discussion and reflection. Now we are talking. Yes, I love chalk and talk. Presentation, beautiful. Anybody else? Anybody else who thinks we lecture every day? Anybody who thinks anything different? Role play, fabulous.
Giving
What?
them a case study a day prior and making them thought, think, and relate it with the theory part.
Chavi, is that you who added this point?
Yes, ma'am.
Chavi, love your point because the next thing that I was going to say was flipped classroom. And I want to talk. Thank you for initiating a great discussion.
Thank you, ma'am.
I still haven't answered real life examples. We'll come to that, Priyanka. Discussions, yes. Simulation and marketing, love these coming in. Flipped classroom. This is Ananda. Ananda and Chavi, thank you for bringing flipped classroom because I read your mind and this is the next thing that I wanted to talk about. Flipped classroom is something which has recently, let's say recently, 10 years back, came into practice a lot. And we flipped, all of us practitioners, we flipped the way we used to teach. We've been tired of going to the class and lecturing and just giving away the knowledge and talking about it. What we did is we gave students case studies, we gave them things to read and to understand. And then we said, hey, tomorrow in the class, let's have a discussion. And that's where I'll put all your points. Let's have a role play. Let's have a pro and con session. Let's discuss. Let's talk. Flipped classroom is something which is a widely loved method these days because, of course, Naila ma'am just covered the session, digital AI, how beautifully we are all connected on social media, how easy access it is to everybody from all segments. That just empowers us to read, write, view at any time. And if you have the privilege, you can then have a confined time in the class when you can reflect on these and talk about this and discuss. When we discuss, it is more of a hands-on practice, and that's where a flipped classroom becomes a very interesting thing or interesting method followed by a lot of faculty. Students learn on their own pace. They practice problem solving. They are already brainstorming about these points. If they want, they can have discussions. They can watch videos. They can have some personalized thoughts noted down so they can share it the other day in the class. And that's enough for a preparation. I don't know what you feel about your students if they read and come. We find it very difficult. We, as in, I'm talking about a small community and a bigger community who talk about how good is student reading when we give them to read. Do they read and come? People say, yeah, it's a mixed answer. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But when you give them videos, when you give them something interactive, something interesting, do they come prepared? I would say yes. Chavi, I will quote you here and I will take you all through another method, or rather same method of case study, which is a quick case which has come up these days. And I'll show you one how we have started using, and probably you're using it already, to give students things to do in the class right away. But following my track, I will now move on to when we talk about teaching methods. You mentioned a couple of your favorite methods. I've got presentation, design thinking, brilliant, amazing. We talked about lectures. We talked about, somebody mentioned design thinking. Let me say demonstration. Do you think you demonstrate in the class? Feel free to put your answers in the chat anytime. I'm keeping a tab on it. But I would say, yes, you demonstrate. You walk the talk. You demonstrate. You tell your students how to do things because you are doing those things practically as well. You're brainstorming, you're thinking, you're coming up with innovation and creativity. These are very widely used two methods by faculty across the board. If I switch this to what is a student-centered method, where you keep your student at the center and you imagine this is how um, this emphasizes student learning. What kind of learning that can be? Feel free to keep putting it in the chat, but I will start adding. There's something which is called inquiry-based learning. If you're practicing a flipped classroom, your students are well read, they've watched the video, they've read the case study, they're coming to you, and they are coming with their questions, with their inquiry. Their learning is happening like for their discovering different things. There's another method which is project-based learning, and I'll show you an example on that front as well. Most of us present here have done project-based learning. Either we are offering in our courses live client challenges, or we are doing business simulations, or we are giving hypothetical scenarios for students to work into, or we are putting case studies. So we've always in a synchronous or a non-synchronous way indulged and engaged our students in project-based learning. The feedback from project-based learning is usually very good because the students are doing it. They are the doers in that case. We discussed flipped classroom. That is also a very popular method where the student is centered and they are enjoying it. And what I'm trying to do is, before we get into the main topic, let's discover few things which probably we have thought before or not, but I'm trying to put these things in different baskets. We just did, what is the teacher-centered approach? What is a student-centered approach? And now I would say, what is an interactive and collaborative method that you think we can practice in class? I already see Mayank mentioning role play, which is fabulous. You knew what I was going to talk next, Mayank. You're reading my mind now. So great. Dr. Rahini mentioned peer learning. Fabulous, absolutely. Collaborative and interactive. So collaboration learning is when you're asking your students to work in group to achieve some common goals, and it's a team project. They've got a team charter. They describe different roles to different students, and they bring it all together. The other thing is class discussion. If you have a LMS or a learning platform that you're using, you can have discussions on those forums. It's just like the platform X, where you put a post and then you start having your students share their ideas. Those are classroom discussions, which can also be used as assignments and assessments sometime. Has anybody tried, or I'm pretty sure you have, but if you want to share, game-based learning? Is anybody into gamification? Learning through doing games, keeping them engaged in a console or a simulation? Any hands raised? I'll not ask detailed question. I just want to see who's doing it and if they want to share. Feel free to share if you want, but game-based learning, if the institutions have the privilege of having a lab or the facility, that is something which is often coming. And we have Rahini here who does acknowledge that there is a game-based learning. This morning, I was talking to one of my colleagues who is an AI expert. Yeah, it is as simple as crossword and puzzle. That's how you start being innovative. That's step one. Beautiful. And one of my colleague, Shelja, he just shared with me this morning how he went on a free available resource and created the entire game. And today in his masterclass, he's going to implement that and the students are going to play with it. And students are going to actually learn entrepreneurial finance through that. And he was showing that to me, which I haven't tried. And I was like, I cannot share this today, but I'll share the tool with you. So if you want, in your free time, you can practice it. It's completely free on a subscription based. And it's great. That's how gamification gets into the education, because it gives everybody an immersive experience. And we'll talk about this in more detail with an immersive experience. Don't forget, we are breaking down the methods. I will now take you to the pedagogy because this is all your area of expertise. If I say, and let me put the chat somewhere. Okay. Right. If I say, what are the key aspects of pedagogy? What we just discussed, teaching methods, it's paramount. It's the most important aspect of the pedagogy because without these different teaching methods, which we can simplify and use, I'm not changing slides because I want you to be more interactive today. So don't worry, I've only got 10 slides today. So you have to bear more with me than the slides. So I'm keeping the slides same, but I want it to be more engaging. So coming back to the pedagogy and aspect, teaching method is one of that. If we talk about the key aspects of pedagogy, the actual technique and the strategy any teacher is using to present their information and to engage their students within the class falls under that, which we just talked about. Then we see one of the major foundations is theory. We cannot have classes or topics without any theory. You cannot teach a concept without theory. And I'm comparing this with a teaching methodology where it's very widely said hands-on practice, project-based practice, but you need to bring the theory in. So that's another important aspect. And let's not forget together when we are teaching different courses, we are working towards a curriculum delivery because a degree is based on all the courses. So we cannot just go rogue and try and trust anything in the class if we don't have the right alignment. Classroom management is another part, and probably I'll propose IPS to have that as a topic of discussion next time because classroom management is such a pain. It works well sometimes, and sometimes it's hard. So I think we all go through that, but that also falls under the key aspects of pedagogy, and managing that is again a big art. I don't know from yesterday's session if it looks like that I'm a big fan of assessments, but for me, for people like me, any knowledge, any learning, I relate to assessment. How am I teaching and how am I assessing whether somebody has learned it or not? So I'm not the only one. Within the key aspects of pedagogy, assessments and feedbacks are also very, very, very important aspects, and students very highly value it because it's the most impactful thing to do. I have another question for you all before we jump into the experiential learning and why we are all a big fan of experiential learning and how in Industry 5.0 we can innovate more with experiential learning. And that question is why pedagogy matters. Why does it matter that I use a specific pedagogy and you use a specific pedagogy and one of them is more effective than the other? And if I break it down, a simple question is why pedagogy matters. Think like a student, why does it matter to you? Or why does it matter to your student? If anybody can jump in, want to speak about it, or if anybody wants to write it down, that's great. I'm definitely going to fill in and tell you one of the most important aspects, and then probably you can add on. The reason why pedagogy matters is because it provides student experience. And let's start building on this. When we focus on a specific pedagogy, when you focus on a lecture and I focus on a discussion, we both provide different experience to our students. And student experience is the most important thing to drive knowledge and learning. Any effective pedagogy has equal and, I remember this used to be a formula, equal and direct proportionate impact on learning. So if you've heard that if you watch something, if something is visually appealing and you can retain more, you can grasp more, that's true. The more you get indulged into something, the more learning happens because you're experiencing it and you're more involved in it. What is the outcome going to be of that is where you relate yourself to because you're bringing in that outcome and that becomes important. So student experience is something which makes pedagogy matter a lot. And that's when you teach a topic A, you teach it through a different pedagogy, and you teach a topic Z, you teach it with completely different methodology or pedagogy. It's also based on teachers' development. How do you want to refine your teaching practice? It depends on that. If you're coming from business analytics, and if I'm coming from economics, we are going to be way apart in having the different kind of teaching development and pedagogies. The way you adapt context and the way student adapt context is very different. And I'll take you back to the childhood, probably when me and you, or most of us, were in kindergarten and in class 1 and 2. We used the colors, we used the blocks, we used clay, and we used different methods to learn things. It's modified a bit, but it's still there in the higher education. That's exactly what students are doing when they're learning about different disciplines and topics. So the contextual adaptation that allows us to use different methods is what is unique to individuals. And both of us can teach same topic through two different pedagogies. And that's the beauty of different pedagogies existing. And that's the beauty of it. So contextual adaptation is also something which you can foster, you can personalize, and you can copy. You can build, and you can build upon it. This takes me to the next slide. And now I have changed my slide. So if you see that differently, it's nothing much. It's just wise and wisdomful words of Albert Einstein that say everything else is information. If you're not experiencing, learning is not happening. And I think we all agree to that. And participation is also a way of learning. So we did the popular methods of teaching. We talked about different student-centric and faculty-centric methods. We talked about the key aspects of pedagogy, and now we just talked about why pedagogy matters, which does matter to all of us. We all are super selective in choosing pedagogy and different pedagogical approaches. And different pedagogical approaches exist because you have different kinds of audience. You teach different kinds of courses. No single approach in any one situation works. And I'm sure you find that often you have to blend different methods based on your subjects, your areas, your student needs, your desired learning outcome, and your and your students' behavioral approach of how you want to assess something. One of the practical experiences, and that's coming from health. We used to have a theater style seating arrangement for student classes. And 3 years back, in 2022, we decided we were revamping our curriculum and we are making it a team coaching session kind of a work. So we offered courses in the form of challenges. If you go on the website, you will read about it. We have revamped it again and modified it. But what we did is day 1, the student comes into the class and they are not studying alone, or they're not doing any individual assignment. They're always in a group. So they create a startup. They create a startup with a social impact. They study geopolitics and international politics in a group. And everything that they do is a part of a group. We completely moved the teaching to group teaching, and we had no exams. The model worked amazingly well for us. It was very exhaustive. Students loved it. They knew before going ahead for the program. And it was a completely experiential kind of a learning. So we chose a different pedagogy altogether in offering that, and we are constantly refining it because the methods of learning and teachings are moving so different from the traditional one. And no single approach fits everybody. So keep blending, keep making sure that you're offering different variations, keep making sure that you're doing new things, because you have to innovate, you have to tell students to innovate it even in a better way. We talked about choosing a pedagogical approach. Now, this is a learning happening both ways, me and you, all of us. Would anybody like to share what they feel comfortable or what they love in terms of a pedagogical approach? Is it you love lecturing? Is it like, I think it was Chavi who said case studies? Are you a fan of case studies? Somebody mentioned simulation. If anybody would want to talk about kinesthetics, sounds amazing. Anybody wants to talk about gamification? Any input about role play, how you did in your class and how you loved and enjoyed it? Because if you're the same audiences from yesterday, you would remember I talked about observed discussions where students were recorded in a video and they had to give what worked best, what didn't work best, and the faculty have to assess them on that part, which was a kind of a role play of a board meeting. I have somebody in the chat. It improves our quality of teaching. Different learners will be benefited with different methods. Now with digital, you're so right. You're so right. And that's the reason different pedagogies are used. Rahini, would you tell us which is your favorite pedagogy? Is it something that
now I'm the digital pedagogy, ma'am. I'm just changing my entire class into AI interrupted pedagogies because students are without phone, they cannot come to the class. So with the phone, I have to do some activities then only, and that is what I mentioned the kinesthetic also. I just give some video lectures, and I'll be raising questions in that. In between, the AI will give the question, and they have to watch. Immediately they have to answer. Then only they can move to the next few minutes. After that, again, a question will be coming for them. It will be pop-up. They have to answer. And again, they have to score. And for every scoring, I'm having points for the group. So this video will be for 5 minutes, 10 minutes like that. It will be circulated to them. So they will be watching it. They can answer it in the group. One more method which I'm using it as the activity-based learning. This is one sort of activity I'll be giving them. And I'll ask them like crossword puzzle making of Magadi concepts. I'll just make them to puzzle it, find out. And I'll be teaching them what does that mean fully with the crossword puzzle-like structure. That's the one gamification which I'm doing. The another one is I will record my audio lecture. I'll be just putting it in the AI. That AI will produce questions then and then based on my lecture. At the end of the lecture, this question should be answered by them. So this is one of the method which I'm introducing in my university, and we are doing with that. And Easy Puzzle is one such platform which is already available for us for the video questioning. So when I'm posting my lecture with a video, I'll be installing it in the Easy Puzzle, and I'll install the AI. I'll just post it in my Google Classroom, and they will be answering it. So I'll also be fixing the timing with them. So within that particular time, they have to finish it during the break time or during the arrival of my time to the class. I'll be moving from one block to the other block. So it will be taking time for us to move from this block to that block. The students will be coming from various rooms. We will not have a separate room for everything. We'll be just moving from one place to another place. The same classroom will not be suitable for every hour. So when I'm doing design thinking, I'll have some other class I'll be moving. When I'm having a discussion forum, I'll go to some other place. When I'm having an audio visual, I'll go to the auditorium. So likewise, I'll be changing my classrooms, make the people to move around. So within that, they have to use the mobile and they have to finish that 2 minutes video question before what I'm going to teach to them. This is what some of the methods which I'm doing it. And with the simulation, weekly once I'm doing a simulation activity. And I'll be giving simulation sheets.
Rahini, thank you so much. You got a big menu of recipe for success because you're doing fabulously amazing. If you want, we can connect later. I can connect you to someone who is the champion in gamification and just loves doing it. So I can connect you with a small community of people who are wanting to do it or who are doing it in the class. I'm a big fan of yours. You're doing the audio lecture with questions. You're using AI, inspiring on how to embed AI within the teaching system, not to take over, but to complement. Beautiful. Thank you so much. I think a lot of people on this call.
But this audio lecture is specially designed by our own students for our own university. This is the in-house AI.
This is great. This is great. I think this is a forum where a lot of you can connect together and get into it. And I see something has sparked Mayank to unmute himself and jump into the discussion. Please, Mayank, tell us.
Ma'am, actually, uh, only one objective of pedagogy should be it should be application based, whether in personal life or in professional life.
Can you expand that a little bit more? When you say application, do you mean hands-on? Are you going toward
It
experiential?
may be real life examples, it may be role plays, it may be showing the videos, even the clips of movies or industrial visits.
Mayank, thank you so much because you made me move to my next slide, and we are already jumping into talking about experiential learning. If you can stay back a few minutes, I can build on your point about experiential learning, but feel free to jump in if you want. First of all, Rahini, thank you so much. I literally noted down everything that you do because I'll connect you to Nikhil, who's a champion in gamification and he loves it.
I'll be very much pleased if you are connecting me with that type of community to improve much more in the AI. Because the students will be awaiting for my class. Every day I will be going with some new recipe for my
Absolutely.
marketing analytics, international business environment, and
Great.
my project management, everything. So
Right.
connect me with that. I'll be happy.
Keep innovating, keep innovating. And we've got Shalja, she has just added amazing point about Kahoot and Mentimeter. Engages, sometime not. Yet when I did it yesterday, nobody responded. So sometime it works, sometime not. But I know you can always make your students jump in, get collaborative. And it's such an amazing tool. You immediately get the notion of your audiences, what they want to do. And that is such a great initiative to kickstart your class and to spark a discussion. So keep doing that. This is so amazing. I'm also learning along with you about how well it is working, which is great. I'll now build on Mayank's point where he said it should all lead towards experience. So he's simply talking about experiential learning, which is our topic of today. And there are so many different ways in which we can make students experience a different topic. I'll go back to my yesterday's session where I was talking about, I think I spoke quite a lot about live business challenges or industry situation that we give to our students. And allow me to share something where I want to tell you that if I'm talking to you about this, based on my institution and otherwise, how strongly I promote this kind of teaching. And I would like to share with you a PDF. And bear with me on that because I want to show you something. I'm going on the share and I can document. I'm somehow not able to see my PDF on this screen, but which is
You're in the full view, ma'am. So you just change the view, ma'am. There is a button called view on the top of it. There you have to change share screen.
yeah,
You are in the full mode.
it just doesn't show my PDF which I have opened.
Video,
You
ma'am.
know, yeah, but don't worry. You know what? I'll quickly do something to fix this. Bear with me. 30 more seconds, I promise. And that is take a screenshot and put it on my screen. Gosh, I thought I'll be able to share. I am back. Right. I've spoken to you all about business challenges, and I've spoken to you about how these project-based activities work so great. And I will share with you something right now here on the screen. Probably you can expand it and have a look at it. And this is actually a poster presentation that we did at one of the university events here. This is specifically based on project-based learning. Thank you for the time that you bared with me while I was pulling this out. I actually wanted you all to have a look at this because this explains how well you can introduce and give context to an assignment or a method of teaching that you're teaching in the class. There is a bit of a methodology attached to it. You don't always have to have primary data, which means, and I'm mixing two things here. One is the poster, and the other is the project based experiential learning aspect that we are bringing. Let's say Unilever is your client, and you have a person from Unilever that has brought in a business challenge, and they are saying, we are launching a new product and we need expert consultations. Now, you've got students studying marketing, entrepreneurship, or different fields in management and other areas in the area of business. And you have them as a panel, you present it to them, and then they have to come up with solution and resolution of those challenges. It can be served as a primary data. Sometimes your clients let the students have the data. Sometimes your clients provide them hypothetical information that becomes your secondary data. There is a pedagogical implementation for all such methods of teaching. I'm also putting it to assessment because you teach and then you are asking your students to get involved into hands-on practice. There is a pedagogical implications, and we talked about that implication a lot. When you introduce a project like that, let's call it a live client challenge. When you do such things, you are asking your students to research. And I'll put it in a more simple way, which you all know. They research about the company, they research about the competitors, they research about the market, and they're kind of exploring different demographics, they're kind of exploring different challenges or what can come. The most beautiful thing that a lot of faculty and students have come across out of these challenges is future proofing the business. When you research about a certain topic, the most important aspect these days is how do you future proof? What happens if there's COVID again? What happens there's an AI burst again? Something else comes which you don't even know, or any celestial anything, natural calamity. How do you future proof that business? And that is becoming one of the most important aspects. Cybersecurity and policy making. Your topic is not on these, but when you let your students explore these projects, these are the different things that come in. You give your students a problem, they will talk about sustainability, they will talk about ethics, because this is where it leads them to. And that is what I'll connect to yesterday's discussion. The more you collaborate, you know how you're teaching a cohort, the better it gets. You started with business analytics, you moved into ethics, somebody talked about data, marketing research came in, and so on. So if you're teaching a business degree, you're so well integrated. I'll bring you back again to this poster, which has a key findings. And when we put this this poster at the university event, there were so many business schools who came up with very basic questions like, how do you secure a client? What's the first method of you approaching them? And I was like, for me, it's very easy. I like somebody, I ping them on LinkedIn, or I just connect and I try and see how I can network with them. And I say, hey, this is what I want to do. And this is the impact it is going to have. And I kind of do my sales pitch 2 minutes. You can try a different way, but you can do it. The key findings were how successful these methods were, how everybody loved that. And one of the most interesting outcome was it increased the employability. And whether you work with your careers department directly or not, I will suggest have a chat with them, work backwards. Say, when students come to you, what are they looking for? They're looking for working as a marketing intern. What are the questions the marketing agencies or the companies are asking them? And you try and build your knowledge and your teaching backwards. Don't forget the theory, it has to come in. Don't forget the hands-on information. You have to be providing that in the class. But what you're doing is you are giving them the outcome in year 1, 2, 3, and 4 that they are eventually going to have, because after your degree, all that you do is you look for work and internship and experience. So you're preparing them, you're making them industry ready by working backwards day 1. And such projects can be hypothetical, it can be actually live. We call it live when we have client on campus in the class talking about it, either online or in person. That it has to be on campus, the session happening live or in person. But if it's a hypothetical situation, then it's hosted by faculty. It's still called a challenge. It's just not the live challenge. But it does have association with the outcomes, which is coming from the client itself. So if it's a Facebook challenge, and I'm just taking the name, it can be a startup, which is amazing. And it can be coming from them. So the students can relate how their solution can be adapted in the real world. Now, I know it's Mayank who pushed us immediately to talk about experiential learning, but I'll bring another point from someone very amazing who's put that in the chat, and my chat is lost now, but I think I'm pulling it. But somebody mentioned to us role play, and I'm trying to look for that person. Don't worry. Oh, that was Mayank. He's not coming again on the call. But somebody else said real life experience, which was Priyanka. And Priyanka mentioned real life experience, which is very similar to live business challenge. But just assume you're teaching a humanity class and you're teaching about something and you invite the person as a guest speaker. Can I have your yeses or no to understand if a student does a field trip? Does that count under experiential learning? If a student goes to a museum visit, does that count as a experiential learning? Yeah, it does. I think a lot of you are saying yes. Here in London, we offer a couple of courses in business where we teach business through a visit to London. Visit to London City. We take them on a tour, on a field trip, and that's their business. That's how they learn business, and that's how the education is imparted to them. We are so rich in culture in India. If there is anything that relates to business in your course, which is culturally something that you can take them for a tour or a visit, I think that's another most beautiful experiential experience that can be given to our students. So, while I'm juggling with a chat and so many, I don't know why I raised my hand. And goodness, I'll keep it raised. Maybe it just looks like, yeah, I'm talking. But where did I think I messed up something somewhere. Don't worry, I have so many windows open. And I'll now go back to my main slide. Today you have to bear with me quite a lot while I'm juggling with all of this. So I go in the presenter mode again.
Your experience also regarding this type of classroom, what you're adapting for your subject by the time?
Thank you for asking me that question. And that's a very powerful question, and that ignites a discussion which is so helpful to everybody in our field and area. We are very heavily based, and when I say we, not just at Hult, I will speak about the London community where we've got so many different private and public universities and institutions. We thrive currently completely on experiential learning. And if I have to say, within experiential learning, role play is something which we do every now and then. Having a live client challenge is another 100% requirement of every course that we do. We try to make it as much live as possible. Otherwise, we do a hypothetical challenge always. And within our team charters, we always include role plays. And when students are presenting, they are assigned different roles in which they play. And connecting to yesterday, when they are doing these role plays, we then ask students to be observers, to be reflection, to do reflection and share their experience about how it all went. And it all combines together because we offer a lot of our assignments as progressive assignments. So the course goes for, let's say, 15 weeks, and every week they have some output or the other where they are trying to include and they are trying to build in. So that's
Your
how it
one question
is.
I would like to know. What about your course assessments? You will be deciding your course assessment, or your university pattern will decide the course assessment?
So every faculty decides their own course assessment.
That is the freedom you are getting it, but we are not getting it, ma'am. And the course also designed by you, ma'am?
So the course is approved by the curriculum committee because it's a part of the course. It's the part of the degree. So that course, we call it a blueprint, which sometimes people call master syllabus. And at most of the university, it is called a blueprint or a master syllabus, which everybody follows. And while they are following that, the faculty has the freedom to choose their assessments and the methods of teaching. And I'll quickly add, just today, I had a question raised by a student who said, I am in a leadership class where there is a 10% worth of 20% worth of an exam, while my friend is another section of leadership taught by a different faculty, they don't have exams. And these exams are not exactly the exam, but they are proctored assessments where you're given a situation like an open book, but they are proctored. So for them, it's an exam and they feel like that. So these students come up to us and they say, why are these two methods different? But that's what we thrive to them because we say, you don't know who you are going to get as your team member, and you can get a team member who can surprise you by not contributing at all. And you have the burden of doing it most of the time. So we give them the real taste of the business world. But to your question, we do have the privilege of deciding our assessments. The faculty work with me if they are going a bit super innovative on assessments because we assess how it's going to impact the class. But if it is supportive, we go for it. And every term, the faculty is trying and working on
Why
different
I'm
ways.
asking is that I was guiding some students from ETHM's University London,
Right.
and also the Paris universities, Wolverhampton also. So at that time, they will be just asking us to prepare presentations, and with that, they will be passing their own courses. But here, we are not like that. So
Okay.
the experiential learning or the role plays are not accepted by even our students or schools because they are more portion oriented. We have to just take out each and every line and give them notes and ask them to memorize, and they have to mug up it and they have to rise in the exams, written exams by 20-30 pages. Then only
Can
they
I
can score out and clear.
I completely agree with you. And don't worry, throughout the world, there are different ways of on how the teaching is happening. But let me say that if you are in a situation where you feel that you don't have the authority of deciding that, probably your teaching can be a part of a role play where the students are having that role play, doing that activity in the class, and that's how you're imparting the knowledge. You may not use that as assessment, but you can use that as an activity in your class. Your students will anyways give an exam. Let's say they are giving an exam 100% at the end of the term. But the way you're teaching in the class can definitely be molded across this experiential learning.
I don't have the problem, ma'am, generally, because I'm in a deemed university. I'm having full freedom to choose my pattern of assessment. But others, usually working in the Indian universities, it is affiliated or the other type of autonomous, they don't have the freedom to choose their assessment system.
I totally agree with you. And I think that's one of the things which we need to change with the changing time. And I'm quite positive that's going to happen. But let's say how we initiate it is we bring it in terms of how do we teach those classes? How do we include that in different sessions so we can impart knowledge into that ways? I'm happy that you're able to do it in the deemed university. And let's see if some colleagues jump in and share their experience of what they do if they are not able to implement these different methods into their class. So I'll keep an eye on the chat, but I'll move on to something next, which is This is what I shared with you yesterday, so I will not focus a lot. But when I was talking about the life challenges, this is a reflection piece that was done after the group assessment, and I spoke about it yesterday. And there was a detailed rubric feedback on different skills and mindset on how the students were then assessed. But today, in today's session, I would say they were assessed, but how it was offered, that's what we just discussed. So if you have the autonomy or if you can influence the way you deliver the session in your class, maybe try and see different ways on how you can include more and more experiential learning and how you can bring it probably not as a credit bearing thing, but as something which is more of a maybe a hackathon or maybe a master class that you do now and then. This is again something that I wanted to talk because we talked about different mindsets. I'm moving on to discussing more topics on experiential learning. But what I want to remind you is when we are talking about experiential learning, we are imparting skills and we are imparting mindsets. And that goes hand in hand. There's no way these two things work differently. And with AI, I think whether we want or not, we all have to be a part of it. I also wanted to show you a video today, which is about the future of 2050 now, which is in accordance with HEC Paris. And they have created a lab where students are actually doing the role plays and experiencing these things. Sapna, I have a quick question to you. Should I try playing the video or should I give you the link and would you like to do that? I don't know if with my,
Ma'am, what will be the duration of the video, by the way?
it's just 2 minutes, a very
We
quick one.
can absolutely go with that. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. So let me share that video or can I give you the link if that's okay?
I think link will also suffice our purpose. It won't be a
Okay.
problem.
Brilliant. But will you be able to play that?
I will be able to play that. Okay, so
Okay.
let me
Then
just
let's
check.
try. Yeah, let's try. Because this is something that I want all of us, whether we are able to do it in the class or not, to see how experiential learning is changing. Because we will have to be a part of this.
Sure, ma'am. Just give me a moment.
Thanks, Sapna.
Can we see the screen? I
Yes.
believe yes. Okay,
Thank you.
and audio is there? No, audio is not there.
Not yet.
Okay, just give me a minute again.
Sorry,
Just
I put you on the spot with that. If
one
we can,
second.
it's okay. If we cannot,
1 second. Just 1 second. One more try, ma'am.
take
One
it.
more try.
Take it.
And here we go with the screen and this. So I think, can we hear it now? No? No. Okay,
Okay,
take
but we
them.
can read the subtitles, so I think we will survive. Okay, let's go through it for 2 minutes. Thank you.
You will have in the left hand side, there will be a share button, ma'am, share sound. Just click the checkbox, ma'am. There will be a
Where?
checkbox
Just a
in the
second.
Zoom.
Here, are you talking? No. No, Rahini ma'am, I couldn't get that.
In the share window, you will have the sideward. There will be
This
dots in
one,
that.
advanced sharing options. If I see, no.
With audio, just click the checkbox.
I couldn't see even the checkbox. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I think that we can share the link. I think it's in the chat box and everybody will
Yes.
be able to.
Yeah. But thank you. Thank you so much. And sorry for the trouble. Today, I think technologically it's not the best day, but you know
No
what? If
problem.
the technology fails, we are still human. So, what was I trying to share with you all when I wanted you to watch this video? I've put the link in the chat and I've also put a link to the article. I understand that we all have constraint. You probably might not be able to do everything that's happening in and around you, but you can surely find a different version of it and offer it in one way or the other. What I just showed you was a culmination of all the comments we got in the chat where people said role play and they talked about discussion and participation. And how I will link this exact video to is we have an institution where we have a founders lab. And I'm not sharing any screen right now or any slide right now. I'm just talking about that because this is a hands-on experiential learning project. And this founders lab is kind of an incubation center. And what happens is all the students in the university, when they come to the university for the course, they get the privilege of being a part of this incubation center. I'm very sure, and tell me in the chat if your institution or your school also offers incubation centers where students can come up with their ideas and you have facility to help them seed the idea, flourish it, work on it, and then kind of have an outcome. This particular institution supports students who come with any entrepreneurial idea, help them brainstorm, create it with the help of experts. There is always consultation that are happening on different projects. And finally, there are outcomes which are in the form of startups. So either people are ready to go ahead with their startup in the same country or they go back home and then they start their businesses. It's just like an incubation centers which are happening all across the globes. Now, do we do that for credits or is this offered as a course? No. But can we do that in different courses within entrepreneurship, within marketing, or within any different different domains of finance? Yes. And that is exactly what I was trying to show you in this video, where it has been shown knowledge was imparted with different experiential based activities. And it came out that everybody adapted based on the resources that were available to them, which was culturally a fit, which was demographically a fit, and which actually fitted the essence of the degree and the outcome and the impacts. And based on that, even we will have to adopt what works best for us. Now, technology plays a big role in this. And I would really want somebody to tell me what are the different learning management systems you're using at your institution. Does Moodles and Blackboard and Canva and my courses, do they resonate? Do we know the same learning management systems? Or you might be using an in-house management system where you share your resources to your students online. Fair enough. Let's assume you're using any internal resources to share this content with your students. I know some of the universities have WhatsApp groups on which they share case studies and different resources. So we will have to find a technology that supports our way of experiential learning as well, because without that, we will not be able to probably discuss things further. There's another very important topic which we at this stage, we have started exploring hugely. And this is because Harvard started their quick cases very, very recently, probably a year or two old. They started having quick cases. And I know somebody at the start of the sessions said about case study, which is a very, very popular approach. Teaching and Learning Center, absolutely. And that's
We
where
have a
all
teaching
the
and learning center, ma'am. Every innovative teaching and learning, anybody is doing it. We will have weekly one session. Any faculty, those who are interested, we will be inviting them. And in auditorium, we will be explaining what is the methodology and pedagogy we are adapting. We will be teaching to them, and they will learn it, and they will use it in their department, in their own subjects. This is one of the forum we are learning as well as mutually teaching each other. And we
Rahini,
also invite people like you and ask them to teach the foreign system of teaching, international system of teaching.
Brilliant, Rahini. Another scope of collaboration where we can bring teaching and learning into international forum. Such a great topic, how to
And
bridge the
we
gap.
are also having connectivity with IIT Madras Teaching Learning Center. And we will be going for every summer and winter FDP programs. And with the NISM, with Bloomsburg Technology.
Rahini, everything sounds so fabulous. I think we should inspire and everybody should start doing this or doing it in collaboration. So thank you for bringing this to the forum. I've just put a link in the chat, not because it's my case study, but because this is something that I can resonate with very, very clearly. So when I was teaching economics, I would be teaching developmental economics with 30 pages of a case study, and none of my students were enjoying reading it. It was such a pain. So I would do a summary, and this is back in 2016, 2017, even until 2019, 2020. I would create the summary, give it to them, and then have sessions in the class. I think maybe some of you would associate and relate with it because that's such a pain. You do not want anybody to read a 20-30 pager before the start of the class. It's a massive failure of a flipped classroom because it's hard to read. But then came different open source resources like Case Center, and recently Harvard started quick cases. These quick cases, they are such an engaging sessions in the class, and we took this up at the beginning of the session as well. When students get something to read as a summary. So if you're not using a quick case, if your institute is not using Harvard-based cases or any other fancy publication or any simple publication, probably there can be a summary and there can be a case just created by you, and that sparks the discussion, that teaches the theory, and that is how the teaching is imparted in the class. We did an experiment with classes across 5 different disciplines, including business analytics, finance, management, entrepreneurship, and marketing. And we have the data, in-house data, that it was very successful. It was very successful, and we found that the student engagement level and the learning was very high. It's a hit. I would say it's a hit right now, especially in the Europe and of course in the US, and they are trying to bring in more and more cases. And if you want to work on some of the quick cases, I can tell you Harvard is looking for cases based on startups. It can be in any area. And they are very highly promoting people to write cases on the current issues. So you don't have to have association with top brands like Zara, H&M and bring in their cases. You can rather have I don't know if you have Chaiwala or such different brands, maybe local brands, and you want to write about them. Those are the ones which are really sparking different innovative and entrepreneurial ideas in the class, be it related to finance, be it related to business analytics, AI, all segments. So case study is another very hit topic that goes into the class and is a massive part of immersive experiential learning. I think we've chatted a lot about experiential learning, and I'll
Ma'am, your
say
case study cost $3.5 per student.
Sorry, I could not hear you, Rahini. Can you say that again?
Your case study cost $3.5 per student. Our student will not pay that much, ma'am. If you are giving us free link, then we can read. At least we will teach
No,
in the class.
Rahini, what I will say this, take it as an example, okay? Don't buy the case study. Trust me, even I couldn't teach it to our students because we were not able to, get it for 200 students. But this was just an example to say that a quick case is probably a one pager or a two pager where you can summarize something for your students and give them as a case. Probably that just sparks you to create a quick case and then send it to Harvard and they will publish. But the objective is the method on how we introduce the topic and the knowledge within a quick case. If we were actually having a workshop on case study teaching, when you teach a case, you put the scenario, you put the framework, which is the theory that we talked about in the teaching pedagogy, and then we bring the practicality or the hands-on experience part. And then the students become the consultant and the problem solving happens, the brainstorming happens. And that's where you branch out to different areas which nobody even thought of. And there are some perspectives which even we don't know when we create the case study. So I did one of the case studies, and one of the topics, and that is also a quick case, was about it was about men. It was about paternity leave, and it was about a new baby. So there's a second child born in the family, and there's the father who's got a paternity leave, but that's not sufficient. And we always talk about mothers having 6 months or a year long maternity leave, but what about the father? What's the role? Is it a new world? Do we need to change? Yes, we need to change. It was a very empowering HR related case study. It's very short, it's very quick, but there's so much into it that when you read it, you just want to work on it and make changes. And we talked about so many HR policies. We talked about human behavior. We talked about how sustainability can impact that. And sustainability in this topic, how do you bring it? But you do, because then you start talking about jobs, you start talking about insecurities related to job, you talk about policies. And there were so many different aspects that were discussed when this case study was taken. So probably don't teach this case study. This is also on the incubation chaos. But if you can create your own, or if case center case studies are available online and they are free or they are offered through your institution, please go for it. Look for some open resources. Not just that I write for Case Center as well.
We are using the case center case studies, ma'am, and we are
Brilliant.
also we are going for IIM Ahmedabad for exclusive case study sessions every then and there, and we will be getting 4 or 5 Harvard cases, our own Indian cases, Arvind hospital cases, and we are teaching it to our students, and they are also getting a lot of documents that we should not reveal it, we should not take a copy of it, copyright infringement, these, that, and all. In spite of that, we are just teaching in the class.
Brilliant. And that's a great approach. And I will again say, have a look at my cases for Case Center. There are 3. 2 of them are mini. You would love to teach them in the class, but that's on a lighter side. We find having cases from Case Center really ignite great discussions in the class. And I now relate to your concern about your colleagues more, that not every institution has the kind of resources, let's only say resources in terms of technology or in terms of fundings, that they can use all of these. So that brings me to now the immersive experience part. And I will admit, we do not use the immersive experience part very heavily. We are still innovating. Being in London, considered as the melting pot of culture and the financial hub, to me it sounded that it was very easy for us to try and test every technology, but that's not true. Resources are needed, and some technologies are very, very expensive. So let me talk about the biggest constraint first, because we will all resonate with that. And then let me talk about now about the actual immersive experience. And I'm pretty sure if you've been on a holiday with your kids, they would have dragged you to somewhere or the other, these museums or these parks where they have had experience about immersive technology, where they get you the AR, VR, and you experience that you're running through a jungle or you're in a roller coaster and you're experiencing so many different things. Completely different experience. When we put that same experience to our students, which Nikhil is going to put for his Korean students tomorrow, he's doing a masterclass. Nikhil is my colleague. He has created something with the free tools that are available. And before we end, and I forget, let me give you the link of those tools, because I think I'm pretty hopeful that you should be, you might be knowing way more than I know, but here it goes. There's this platform which is called yup.ai. That is what he and I are using. And I'm giving you a jackpot, but please don't be upset if this costs a lot. But Open Router is the best. We've used so many different, we've used for so many different courses. We create our own in-house simulations using these. And we are going to teach financial entrepreneurship by creating a simulation on this through this application. It turned out so good, we didn't assume it. And this is a hot thing that I'm telling you, hot straight from the oven, because we just did it last week. The learning that we are sharing on this platform is so new that we just did it last week, and I'm sharing it with you today. So I'm not a pro, he's not a pro, but we are trying and we are trying and we are building these things to give students an immersive experience. But the feedback that we get from students is absolutely outstanding, and that kicks us to then explore more. And I want to say this to a lot of people I know who don't appreciate AI as much and say it kills creativity, because we see students using these different simulation and these different platform, and then coming up with something which is so different and so great that probably the next big change is not just happening within AI. Probably something happens within the healthcare sector that everybody is going to benefit from. So we don't know where it is going, but the more we include this, the more we explore how innovative and creative we can be. So it'll be glad if any of these two, platforms or medium can be helpful to you. But we've been using openrouter.ai a lot. And I don't know if it is subscription based or not, but we've been doing quite well with this. Coming back to the AR VR part, I think I don't have to share why it is important, because we've experienced it ourselves. And when we are in a work situation every day, we have to find how we find a resolution for ourselves and our students. And that is what we do when we put them into this immersive experience where they experience the business problem, where they experience the problem or the impact their efforts can bring to the world. And they experience it through all the senses, and they are a part of it. Sharing another example about immersive experiences, another colleague of mine who's doing code and low code, they used Metaverse as one of the platforms where they included different games and gamifications, and that platform was also free. Probably I can share that online. I don't have the link now. And they created a metaverse itself. And this was a bit of a gamification that was introduced in the class. But the amount of interest that sparked in, students were participating in discussions, students were participating through project reports, and they were also then jumping in during the office hours to talk and share more. So we got to know slightly more than what we actually knew from that research and from doing that experience and experiment and assessment from students than we actually did ourselves. Because this is what it was brought to our attention, and we experienced that the students are enjoying it so much. So metaverse, of course, it's a topic. It's a very it's not a latest topic, but it is still something that people are exploring. But creating an activity through metaverse was our surprise. But before anybody says that, I will say it's very time consuming. It's exhaustive. I think we worked very late. It took us 4 to 5 hours to explore the app, to explore how to do it, and then to start working on it. But the outcome was super enriching. And we are piloting it tomorrow. So we did it 2 weeks back, and we are piloting it tomorrow. We've already piloted with 3 students, and it went great. But for the Korean students, we are going to try it by tomorrow, and we will have more ideas about it. So immersive experience, we are pretty new, and I think the world around me is also pretty new. And one of the biggest supporter for any immersive experience is funds. If you've got funds, if you've got funding, if your resource are available to you, you go ahead and provide those experiences. If not, that's a bit of a restriction on how to explore it. But anybody on this forum here today who does have the privilege of including immersive experience in their classes, jump in and please let us know. If there's anybody who wants to put it in the chat. Priyanka, you were excited about the link. You said, please share. Are you looking forward to exploring these more and include it in your class? Just asking. You can say that in the chat as well. No problem. If anybody, I don't know, probably I would love to know if you are using any immersive experience, that would be great. But our immersive experience are majorly restricted to AR, VR. We are doing more of simulation. We are building our own in-house simulation, or we do some simulation through McGraw-Hill. There is a platform which is called Marketplace through that, because we buy different simulations from them and then we introduce it in the class. And they are majorly restricted to finance and business analytics area.
So that is what I'm also using. I shared it in the link, ma'am. Marketplace market simulation.
We are vibing together today, Shalini. I'm so happy. Rahini, sorry. Without glasses, I'm a bit short-sighted, so your name is written very small, Rahini. But thank you. We are vibing because I think I can connect to you that you are trying to bring in a lot of things together that I have shared. But I think a lot of people on this call may also be using it. It's just that we don't know. But I think a lot of them, because there are almost 133 people, there would be so many resources. And if there's a way to connect with everybody, you might just among yourself can share so much and enrich so much. But I will open the forum now for you all if you have any questions, or if you want to put in something which is your secret recipe and you don't want us to know. So I'll urge you, please tell us, what are you doing within your experiential learning and immersive learning that everybody, including I, can learn from you, or any comment that you want to make on different methods that we talked about today. Let's not talk about the resources and the funds. We all are very short on funds.
Regarding the design thinking exercise, what all the things you are doing it, ma'am? Any design thinking courses you are running in your university? We are running one course,
Right.
and for that we are doing only what you said, without AI, without anything. We are inducing their creativity. We will be doing the mind mapping, and we will have a common board for mind mapping, and then brainstorming and brain squeezing. After that, eliminating that, and we will be coming out with a resourceful incubation. So this is what out of design thinking we are doing it.
This is great. We launched design as our major this year itself. It used to be a minor course. And we are not offering too many courses this term. We are offering two. One is design for business, and the other is Adobe. And for Adobe, we had a collaboration with the company, and students have access to that. We have access to that, and sorry, I got distracted with the chat. So there are through Adobe, we are offering that course, and students are completely going through that. The second course is Design for Business. And in that course, we are working with a charity organization, and we are kind of looking into a complete redesigning of a couple of different departments, but that's divided into the different groups. In terms of offering our core courses, we are launching that next spring, and we are working on it. But like I said, we've just started launching it. So this was an elective which students are trying. So if they want to take it for future, they can know where they're heading. But we are trying to give them the most basic tools. But it's a very upcoming thing, especially in London. More and more students are interested in 3D designing and printing, and they're kind of now starting to take that as a major option. So we can connect there as well. I'm a big fan of mind mapping. We use it for a lot of curriculum redesigning.
We
That's
have
another
a
thing.
3D printing machine in our campus, and we are doing that. And Model 4.0 laboratory also. The Industry 4.0 models are available with us with the Tubros. We are working on that. But any other new upgradations London is having in design thinking for business? Any special pedagogy?
You put me on spot with that question, but that's a very inspiring question. I might be able to share more once we offer it in spring, because then we'll have a little more data on that. And in terms of that, but why we did the course on Adobe is we thought that, and you suggest me if that's the right thing or not. We thought we will give student the first glimpse of what they are signing up for in getting into designing. And the feedback is some of our students who are going ahead for the designing course really enjoyed the luxury marketing course that we offered to them. So we were testing what's their level of engagement and why is their inclination towards these topics, because finance and analytics and marketing students, they're very particular. That's what they want to do. So that's what we have started. But about the new thing, we are setting up a lab with a 3D printer. We had it already for our incubation center, but we are doing it for the design as well. We've ordered different equipments, and we are setting up the lab. I'm pretty sure you must be having a lab as well, but we can probably vibe on this a bit more once we kickstart it here in spring.
Including drone technology.
You are a champion in that, aren't you? Thank you. Thank you so much, Rahini, for all your inputs here. And the forum is open. If you want to catch up on anything, you want to add anything, it is all yours. Don't worry, I've got no more slide for you, except I got a few messages about the LinkedIn request. So here it is. Love to connect as always. Very much happy. I would love to hear you if you are speaking as if you are a speaker and you are conducting something. Yesterday, I got connected to some very amazing person who is doing a case study writing workshop. So the networking is already happening. And I told you, I always have time for connections because that's the best thing that we can explore in such forums. So very happy to connect, very happy to help. Just can't give you my case study for free. I can't even use for myself for free. So that's a big bad thing. But case center case studies are available. If you're doing anything amazing that can upskill any of us, I don't know how we are going to keep this community live, but if there's any chance, I would recommend IPS. There should be a group where all these people are connected so that the amazing work that IPS team is doing, incredibly amazing work, pays off, and we explore our future upskilling process together. Okay, with no further questions coming in, I would stop sharing. And probably I can give you back your 8 minutes for dinner more, but over to the big boss, Sapna.
So, as you said, that we really need that. So, I'll escalate this request to the management. Possibly, we can work it out something on this. Apart from that, we are already in connections with LinkedIn and all. Thank you so much for sharing it, and we will be working out on that. And the participants, if we have no other questions, do we have any other questions? I don't think so, ma'am. So, shall we proceed with the closure of the session with your permission, Neha, ma'am? Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sapna.
So now I would like to call Shivangi ma'am for a vote of thanks again. I'm so sorry, Shivangi ma'am, disturbing you time and again, but over to you, ma'am.
My privilege, ma'am. Thank you so much. And thank you so much. I'm very grateful to Dr. Neha Pathak, ma'am, for conducting yet another insightful and highly interactive session on gamification innovative pedagogies. Ma'am, your session beautifully emphasized why pedagogies truly matters, how the art and science of teaching shaping learners' engagement, curiosity, and meaningful outcomes. The reflection on defining one's own teaching practices inspired us to introspect on our individual approaches as educators and the value we bring to our classrooms. Your insights on gamification were equally impactful, showing how creativity, interaction, and play can transform passive learning into an immersive, joyful experience. Thank you so much, ma'am, for another thoughtful, provoking, and emerging session that reminded us that true teaching lies not just in imparting knowledge, but in designing learning that inspires. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you to each one of you for organizing such an insightful session. And you very rightly said today's session was very interactive. I know some of them were so engrossed in participation, but I think the true learning happens both ways. And we all are learning wherever we are based, we are learning together. So this was very enriching. And I know a lot of others have amazing, brilliant ideas. And when you create a group or a community, probably we'll get to hear from them more. But please keep me posted of what you are doing. I would love to be your audience, that there's always learning happening. So thank you so much. And the biggest thank to IPS for also inviting me and giving a forum where I can connect with such amazing people, such people with great wealth of knowledge. So it's very remarkable. Thank you very much, Shivangi.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's indeed a pleasure to have you. We can keep listening to you for hours. Let me tell you this. But since we have a bit of time constraint, otherwise the forum is almost open. And Rahini ma'am is there. Rahini ma'am, it's a small request. I really wanted to see you. I have seen
I
your
think
speech.
I second that request.
Okay, I don't know whether she is comfortable or not. Let's not force anyone. So thank you so much, Neha
I-
ma'am.
I'm just sitting in my home. Just now I reached from my university. I was in the travel. Oh, sorry, ma'am. Actually, yeah, I'm in the mufti dress, not in the proper dress of costume.
No,
Our university will scold us if you are not in the proper. Sorry, ma'am.
no problem, Rahini ma'am, no problem. I actually wanted to see that such interactions, enriching interaction you do. So I was in a curiosity to see you, and here I can see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Rahini,
ma'am.
great points that you bring up, and it tells me as well how much progress we are doing as in the entire community of educators. So some great up points. I'll connect with you. Probably you can give us even more insight on design and a couple of other things. So I look up to you for that. So I'll chase you on LinkedIn. You be
Yeah,
aware.
I'm chasing you. I'm following you. Kindly collaborate with us, and we want to learn more with you. And we will
It's a
have a
learning
collaboration
journey.
with TLC also, ma'am.
Amazing. Absolutely. And thanks to the
Hello,
IPs for connecting
Thank
us, all of us, even if we haven't seen each other. I think we are a community now.
hello.
Hello.
Hi, Neha. This is Dr. Deep from Ahmedabad, School of University.
Hello, sir. How
Uh,
are you?
I had gone through for means for both of your session. It was really a wonderful thought what you gave us. A special thanks to Rohini ma'am as well because she was totally interacting from the beginning till end. And after watching you all four, great lady, I found that it's like a woman empowerment kind of thing what we are facing right now.
Oh, no gender bias, sir. And one of our colleague is often coming with us. Krishna is coming with us, and Muniver sir is coming with us.
Well, Rahini is representing a lot of people. So, Deep, I kind of
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yes.
Amazing. But thank you for that. Thank you for that feedback. I
And
really
if the
appreciate it.
session is good, I should be thankful to the IPS Academy that your session is awesome with the international speakers. If your session is not okay, I'm the first one to write it to Shivangi and to the other people that, ma'am, please ask them to do it as quick as possible, reliable with that, relate them to talk. And now I'm just conveyed to Shivangi ma'am also personally in the chat as well as in the WhatsApp. And this was awesome. IPS is doing it. And next time, if your workshop is coming then or any of your FDPs, we all will be joining. Thanks for bringing the international people to your section.
Thank you, Rahini and Sapna and Shivangi. I think we passed. I passed as well. So that's a great news. And this is amazing. But thank you so much. And if there's any other feedback as well, I would love to hear from you where we can improve and bring in more things. But I think IPS is the star at this point of time, so I will not take the stage away from you, Shalini and Sapna. Sorry, Shivangi and Sapna.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You channelized our passing marks, you know that. So we are getting just a credit. The entire show was run by you. So thank you so much, Neha ma'am, and Rahini ma'am too.
Absolutely.
Okay,
This
so
was amazing.
thank you so much, ma'am. We are at the closure of the session now. So I'll just take one more minute to guide you to the tomorrow session. So tomorrow we are not going to meet at 6 p.m. We'll be meeting by 2 p.m. and we'll be having 3 sessions tomorrow, 90 minutes each. We're going to have sessions from 2 to 3:30 p.m., then 3:30 to 5 p.m., and then 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. 6:30 to 7:30 we'll be engaging ourselves in online test and feedback mechanism, and 7:30 we'll be having the valedictory session. So please make sure that we attend the session on time. All the groups, all the information will be posted in the groups and to your email addresses as well. Any information you are missing out on, please do let me know on my personal WhatsApp number. You have it all, or on my email address. And thank you so much, all of you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, participants, for your patient listening and such a good participation, enriching participation. Seeing you all tomorrow, 2 p.m. Don't forget, it's not 6 p.m., it's going to be 2 p.m. tomorrow. Yeah. So, good night, everybody. The dinner is waiting for us. And Neha, ma'am, sorry to keep you
ma'am.
waiting.
Sorry. And when our attendance is getting closed,
Sorry, Rahini, ma'am?
when is our attendance timing is getting closed? So the session will be 2 to 3:30, one session. Again,
Yes.
3:30 to 5, the next session.
Yes.
So up to
Yes.
that, if we will be available, then that's okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, attendance and feedback mechanism is a mandatory component which we have to follow. So it will be from 6:30 to 7:30.
Ma'am, actually, okay, ma'am, I'll just convey to you.
Yeah.
We have a 40th year celebration in our university. So in the crowd, we will be. That's what I
Okay.
would like to know. Okay, ma'am.
Rahini, ma'am will connect possibly personally. Will that work for
Yes,
you?
that's